Japan anime news powered by Newtype. Yes, this is already the third time, right? This program is a podcast that delivers anime information to the world through the multilingual voice translation tool Lingueene, based on the latest anime information gathered by the editorial department of KADOKAWA's anime magazine, Newtype. I, Hisanori Yoshida, started to share Japan's anime situation and culture with the world, and both English and Chinese versions are out there. Some people have listened to it, and I've received amazing feedback from various individuals. It's not that I'm working hard. I'm not putting in any effort at all. I leave everything to AI, and the quality that comes out of it has led to many inquiries from those who have listened. Since I have friends in this industry, I get inquiries like, Kamido, can we use this for a VTuber project, or Ripaniti, or I want to use it for corporate narration. And they keep coming in. My voice remains the same, and while it's not completely native, people can understand what I'm saying. However, regarding English, I've been told it's quite impressive and easy to understand. I've received a lot of feedback from various people. But there's just one issue. I haven't received any feedback from listeners, from those who are actually listening. There are always fans who come to support me no matter where I am, and they are truly unique individuals. Although one of them has been using the hashtag JAnime online to share their thoughts, what we really hope for is to receive emails from overseas. However, I've heard that the culture of sending emails to radio shows doesn't really exist outside of Japan. In Japan, we have the term Hagaki Shokunin, referring to people who send in interesting responses to prompts or segments we provide. But it seems that this kind of culture doesn't exist abroad. I really want to do this. First, since even people in Japan haven't sent anything yet, please send an email to janime@1242.com just to say, I'm listening. It can even be spam. We are currently in a phase where we want spam. I don't think anyone will fall for something like you can get PayPay from here, but I want to try it. Also, for those overseas, I would really like to hear from someone from another country. Even though we are broadcasting internationally, I hope at least a few people are listening. If you are listening, it might just be you. For those in English-speaking countries or Chinese-speaking countries, we are waiting for your messages. Well, just to clarify, this program is being recorded on October 14th, 2024. So, there's a possibility that after this, a lot of people might send in messages. And some spammer from another country might have found them, resulting in a flood of spam disguised as anime topics. As of now, I'm delivering this with a bit of loneliness, so I would really appreciate your participation. Right now, I'm saying some pretty silly things in Japanese, but for those listening in other languages, I'm using a multilingual voice translation tool called Lingueene. So the translations for languages other than Japanese are done by AI, which may include inaccurate expressions, so I hope you can understand that. There's also a chance that the spam parts might be translated oddly, like canned meat being translated very accurately. I wonder how sutonkyu is being handled. I can only speak in Japanese as usual. If you have any thoughts or feedback about the program, please use the hashtag JAnime. So this has been Yoshida Hisanori's Japan Anime News powered by Newtype. Thank you for your continued support this week. So, in terms of news, I just came back from watching Shiyui's live performance. The atmosphere in Shinjuku Kabukicho is really vibrant. With inbound tourism, it was completely different just a few years ago. It's also quite prominent in anime. For example, there's City Hunter, and while Yakuza is a game, it fits in that category too. There was also a more niche title called Kabukicho Sherlock. These have been adapted into anime, so some people might have an image of it. Right in the middle of Kabukicho, there's a live house called Zepp Shinjuku, where I went and came back from. Shiyui, the singer, is probably keeping her age private, but she's a very young female singer. She sings the ending theme for the second season of Mobile Suit Gundam The Witch from Mercury, and the opening theme for Mao 2099 this season. Honestly, the talent of the younger generation in singing has surpassed all limits. It's amazing how such talented singers are emerging through the internet. It really shows how times have changed. I came back feeling overwhelmed, though not in a bad way. I just thought about how different my work is compared to that. The latest anime news is quite significant this week in the Japanese anime industry, as Nobuyo Oyama has passed away. Unfortunately, I never had the chance to meet her. When we think of Nobuyo Oyama, she is undoubtedly the previous voice of Doraemon in Japan. Currently, it is being voiced by Wasabi Mizuta. Did you know that she also voiced the first Katsuo? Speaking of which, I wonder what people both domestically and internationally think of Sazae-san. I don't think there are many Japanese people who don't know about Sazae-san. It has been broadcast on Sunday evenings for the past 40 to 50 years, or even longer, so I believe everyone knows about it. I've heard that Doraemon has become popular overseas, especially in Asia, but what about Sazae-san? It's such an animation that is deeply ingrained in the Japanese way of life. Are there people who have gone out of their way to watch Sazae-san overseas? How is it? Well, I guess so. How should I put it? Like Dilbert? No, that's not it. I'm trying to compare it to something from overseas, but I'm not sure if I can find a fitting example. A home comedy? Surely there must be something similar in every country and language. It's like the boy character from the very first series of that home comedy. For recent anime and game fans, it might be good to mention Monokuma from Danganronpa, Trigger Happy Havoc, which was voiced by Nobuyo Oyama. Nobuyo Oyama has passed away, and many of us grew up with that voice in a sense. Nobuyo Oyama was actually a theater person from the past. Back then, the role of voice actors in the anime industry wasn't clearly established, and those who voiced animations had many different aspects. In fact, Nobuyo Oyama was also a scriptwriter. You may or may not know, but there is a hugely popular detective drama in Japan called Tayo ni Huero, and Nobuyo Oyama has written scripts for it. If you look at the credits for Tayo ni Huero, there are episodes where it prominently says script by Nobuyo Oyama. Not as a voice actor. She wasn't doing roles like Detective Doraemon or anything. Well, do you know Arkanoid? It's a super retro game, basically that game known as Brick Breaker, but it's an evolved version where you catch items and various effects are activated. So, I was in elementary or junior high school at the time, and I'm now 48 years old, so this was about 35 years ago when it was in arcades. Nobuyo Oyama was really good at this Arkanoid game. Seriously, if there were an esports tournament for Arkanoid today, she would probably be at the level of a finalist. The fact that she loved it so much means that at one point she actually owned an Arkanoid cabinet herself. There was also a home console version of Arkanoid, but I guess she wanted to play the arcade version. Moreover, in the case of Arkanoid, there are both dials and levers for the arcade type of block breaker. I can't remember which one it was, but she had it. However, she eventually let it go. Apparently, the one she let go of is now at a game center in Takadanobaba. So, for those who have a feeling of nostalgia, there is actually a way to experience it by going to the game center in Takadanobaba. Yes. This is the story of Nobuyo Oyama. Now, moving on to a news item with global significance. The theatrical anime Look Back. Look Back has been in theaters in Japan for 15 weeks now, which means it has surpassed 3 months, entering its 4th month, with an audience of 1.17 million and box office revenue exceeding 2 billion yen. This is truly amazing. In over 20 countries and regions worldwide, the box office revenue has surpassed $5 million, with the revenue on October 6th reaching $683,003. That's about 93.58 million yen. On the daily box office ranking in the US, on the 6th, it ranked 6th. Furthermore, in America, there is a famous critic site called Rotten Tomatoes, and it has a critic score of 100%. That's incredible. This means it has gained momentum in the US as well. On Friday, October 12th, there was a commentary audio screening in theaters nationwide featuring the legendary animator Toshiyuki Inoue, who is very famous, alongside director Oshiyama providing commentary together. I personally think that shorter anime films are becoming easier to hit, as seen with Look Back. This one is less than 60 minutes long, and while I feel that a 1-hour movie or a live-action film might feel a bit lacking, I believe that animation can really thrive in that length, and sometimes it even feels just right. One of my favorite anime is Nasu, a migratory bird with suitcase, specifically Summer in Andalusia. Both of these works are also under 60 minutes, yet they are incredibly cool. If you haven't seen them, I highly recommend checking them out. There's also an animation called Pompo the Cinephile. Has anyone seen it? It's a bit older, so I think it's okay to spoil it. It's about a film producer, and it features a girl named Pompo, who is an incredibly skilled producer. The film is said to be perfect at 90 minutes. Pompo, the Cinephile, is actually 89 minutes and 59 seconds long, just a few frames shy of 90 minutes. When it was originally a manga, it was just a policy stated in the character's dialogue, but they made sure to align it when adapting it into a film. I think that's really cool. Personally, I feel that animation could be even shorter now, and I have a feeling that Look Back might be paving the way for that. Amidst all this, there's news about a theatrical anime, The Rose of Versailles. It has been decided to be released on Friday, January 31st, 2025. It's a completely new theatrical anime. Since it's being produced by MAPPA, they will be working on Jujutsu Kaisen, while also creating The Rose of Versailles. However, I don't think they can fit The Rose of Versailles into just 60 minutes. It's impressive how people in the past could imagine such stories. A Japanese person, Ryoko Ikeda, imagined the story of the French Revolution and turned it into a manga, which became a huge hit in Japan. I wonder how that is perceived in other countries. I've heard that it was very well received in Italy, for example. It's interesting how imagining the history of other countries can lead to success, but then again, Hiroyuki Sanada's Shogun won an Emmy this year. Is there a similar phenomenon? There are also popular games based on the Three Kingdoms in China, so perhaps there's a competition for these historical narratives? Japan seems to excel at creating remarkable historical dramas, doesn't it? It seems that sometimes, even if the people from that country have strong attachments to their history, the emphasis might be placed more on the drama itself. In any case, this is the news that a completely new version of The Rose of Versailles will be made. There is a manga called Kowloon Generic Romance, being serialized in Young Jump, and it has a really atmospheric quality. The author, Jun Mayuzuki, is known for the hit work Koi wa Amiyagari no Yuni, which has also been adapted into an anime, and if I remember correctly, a live-action film as well. This time, Kowloon Generic Romance is of course a manga, but it seems that it will be adapted into both an anime and a live-action film simultaneously. In other words, the TV anime will be produced as a series. The main character's name is Hajime Kudo, right? Yes. Kudo Hajime is voiced by Tomokazu Sugita. The heroine, Reiko Kujirai, is voiced by Haruka Shiraishi, while in the live-action version, Reiko Kujirai is played by Riho Yoshioka. Koji Mizukami is playing the role of Hajime Kudo in this adaptation. The TV anime will be produced as a series, while the live-action version will be made as a movie. There have been several works that have done both, but I think this is the first time I've heard of them being done simultaneously. Currently, Golden Kamuy is also being adapted into a live-action drama, but it seems they are coordinating the key visuals as well, with both versions facing each other. The original story has a somewhat mysterious atmosphere, and since it has Kowloon in the title, it incorporates a bit of a Chinese taste. I'm curious to see how this will turn out. Is this the part that feels like news for this week? Also, there's a short story collection by Takako Shimura that the Newtype's Hato Oka really wants to promote, so I wanted to mention that. Additionally, there's a character named Judao Ashita in Gundam, who has been voiced by Kazuki Yao until now, but the role has changed to Ken, written as K-E-N-N. However, Ken's performance is so much like Yao's that no one seems to have noticed the change. Alright, that's it for today. This has been Hisanori Yoshida with Japan Anime News powered by Newtype, and this is the end of today's episode. When posting your thoughts about the show on social media, please use the hashtag JAnime. If you have any anime news you want me to talk about, or if you want to discuss something like how Ranma 1/2 is doing overseas, or how much you loved Ao no Hako, I have a lot to say about that, but no one has sent anything in yet, so please do send in your anime news and feedback. The email address is janime@1242.com, janime@1242.com. We'll bring you the latest anime news again next week. This has been Hisanori Yoshida from Nippon Broadcasting. Oh, and by the way, I forgot to mention that My Hero Academia's 8th season has been confirmed.